Hey everyone, this is Shane McLaughlin, Platform Architect at Salesforce. I'll be showing a quick demo of some code that I wrote called ProcessBuilderBlocks, and I'm going to walk you through kind of the overview and then do a quick demo of each of the blocks. So first, this is a GitHub repo. Search for ProcessBuilderBlocks, you'll find it. There's a Deploy to Salesforce button. So if you click this, it'll ask you to OAuth in with your Salesforce credentials. Like this, give it permission, and then it'll do the deployment for you and put it in either your sandbox or your production, whatever it is that you logged it into. All right, so the first one we're going to do is Process Builder Delete. This is something that doesn't exist in Process Builder natively, so I've written some Apex to handle it. And it's pretty easy to delete a record of a certain type. You could even build that with Visual Workflow, even though it doesn't exist in Process Builder, and then call it. What's special about this one is that it can handle generic S objects, and so you could be deleting anything that has a record ID. You can do a delete of it, as long as you got permissions to do it. And that way you can have one bit of Apex that's written that can be used on any object as many times. And that's the general idea of these process builders, is that they accept generics and they don't have to be a specific type of object like account or custom objects. All right, so the way delete works is I'm going to open up Process Builder. I'll show you what that looks like. So I created a kind of a silly example for this one. But the general idea is you've got your record type. So I'm going to say it's an account anytime it's created or edited. And in my silly scenario, if you mark an account cold in terms of the account rating pick list, we're going to go ahead and delete it because we don't care about cold accounts. And then here's the details here. This one is really simple. It only has one field that it cares about. It's called record IDs. Because remember, you could be doing this thing where you go in and instead of deleting the record, you delete all of its children. So for example, if you want to delete all of the cases on an account that gets closed, for example, or something like that. And we just pass it the account ID or whatever it is that you're trying to delete. So you'll set this to reference, and then you'll pick your field here. And that process looks like this. And then you'll generally see record ID on all the custom objects, but in this case, it's called account ID. So that's what you pick. Be careful. I don't know if you could delete a user, but you could pick it and try. I haven't tried that to see what it does because that's kind of scary. So be very careful with this one. All right, so that's what it looks like when you set it up in Process Builder, and you can use any criteria you want to decide what you're going to delete. And then I'm going to go get an account. Actually, I think I'm going to make an account. I'll call it delete me. And so you see delete me is saved here. If I click on my rating, I can set it to cold, and it should delete the record. So I click save. You can see my record is deleted, and if I go to my recycle bin, there's delete me. It's there in the recycle bin. So that's a quick example of how you can do deletes, and that one process builder block can be used on anything that you need to delete. All right, next one, manually sharing records. If you haven't dealt with Salesforce record sharing before, this is the scenario where you don't want everybody to be able to see everything. And so I've got my account sharing set up to private, and so I'll click one of those companies that get stuck in here automatically, and we have a sharing button because we have restrictions on this. And so you can see right now, I've got full access because I'm the owner. That's the reason. If I want to give somebody else access, I can do that. So I can pick a user, put them here, and decide what they're going to get on these things. And now, this person, if they were to log in, they'd be able to see it. And I gave them read-only, so they wouldn't be able to edit it. I just gave them that. So let me take that off. The idea here is that you can go into sharing settings, and there are some programmatic things that are, kind of like rule-based things that you can do. So if I go to New Account Sharing Rules, I can click on one, I can create a rule. So I can share it with groups and sort of based on the owner. And I could also say some criteria. So I could say if it's, this kind, if it's in a certain country, then I need to share it with the public group, and I can have a group for the candidate team and set that up. But not every scenario is going to be handled with this. So for example, let's say you have a field on there that's going to say, it's going to tie to a certain user, and you want it to share with that user automatically, but, for whatever reason you can't. And there's not really programmatic stuff in here to take a lookup fields and share it with that user. Anything that gets into more complex scenarios where you have things that are based on, the account owner's contract administrator, lookup fields off of the users, things where you may need to traverse objects, or things where you may need to do something that's a little bit more complex than these criteria-based things, then you can automate that with the process builder block. And let me show you what that looks like. So here, again, we're going to share an account. Keep it simple, all the accounts. Everything goes through the sharing rules. And then this is what my Apex call looks like. So I'm going to pass it the record ID, which is the account that I want to share. I'm going to pass it the user. It could be a group as well, and just hard code those in for whoever you're using. And then that way you can build your criteria here. But this also could be, let me clone this so you can see what our possibilities are. This also could be a reference, and so I could certainly share it with the parent account owner. I could share it with a few different things. And if you can imagine, if I had some lookup fields on my account of people that I might want to share them with, that's a pretty common scenario. So let me just cancel out that. And the other thing I can give them is the access level, and so this could be read, this could be edit, and so I'll just cancel out of that. And then I'm not going to activate it because I already have the previous version running. It's exactly the same. And then so what that'll look like in accounts is I'll go here, and I'm going to say this one, and it is now shared. I'll take it off. And then all I'm going to do on the account, I set the rule so that if I change it at all, it's going to do that. So I don't want to set it to cold because it'll delete it, but I'll set it to hot. And if I click sharing, you'll see that it's now shared with this person again. So pretty much anytime an account gets changed, the sharing rules get updated automatically. And you could also set up a sharing rule delete type of process and have Apex query it. I didn't go through and do that, but you could have programmatic unsharing as well. Oh yeah, one more thing I want to say about this one. If the user is already entitled to it, it shares it with them, but that sharing entry already exists, and so nothing happens, which is fine. It kind of handles the duplicates without throwing errors or anything like that. Right, next, we're going to look at assigning permission sets to users. And so there's an object called permission set assignment, and it's a link between a user and a permission set. And so the scenario here is that you have permission sets, and you always assign them to users. Maybe everybody needs it, or lots and lots of users need it. So everybody who's a salesperson in the North Central region gets this permission set. It's the North Central sales permission. And if you get a lot of these, and every time you set up a new user or change their profiles as people move around your organization, you've got to manage these permission sets. And here's a way to automate that. And so here's my permission set. It's called Be Awesome. It actually doesn't let you do anything, but it does give you permission to be awesome. And so in Process Builder, I've created a process where I've got a user, and every user is going to have this happening. I want all of my users to be awesome. And I'll pick an object, pick an action, and then I'll have my permission set. Got two required fields. The user ID is a reference to the user. and then I will just put in the permission set ID, and I got that from right here on the URL on the permission set. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and activate that so I don't forget. All right, I'm going to make a new user. Let's see if I can do this, if that works. All right, so here's my user. And then if I look down, they've been assigned the permission set already to be awesome. And that's what this one does. All right, number 4, this is refreshing a dashboard. And so here's an example of something that you actually can't do in Salesforce. And so this one's got a little bit of complexity on the setup, so I'll walk you through that. So the use case here is whenever something happens, especially if it's something that happens big, someone may come and look at a dashboard, and dashboards, by default don't auto-refresh themselves. So if I go look at a dashboard, hope I have one. Yeah, there's my test dashboard. Somehow it did get updated today at 8:30, but let's say, right not too long ago, someone came in and did something really great that's going to make our dashboard look fantastic, and all the executives and everybody else seeing it would be really excited. But unless they click this refresh button, they're not going to find out about that really exciting thing. And so we want to actually refresh the dashboard. And there's not a way to do this in Salesforce that I'm aware of, but it is available through our reporting and analytics API. I can't remember what we've renamed that, but you can make a REST call and have Salesforce run your dashboards for you automatically. And that's actually why it got refreshed this morning already. And what's kind of special about this one is you're going to need a remote site set up first. And I have taken my instance of Salesforce of N816 and added that here just so that your system is allowed to make call outs to N816, which is making a call out to itself. And then so that's what I did here. You'll need that remote site set up. Other than failing silently, Process Builder doesn't really give you a way to return errors or log them. The simplest way to do this would be to take your code and set up a logger object that any kind of bad REST responses get sent to, and then your administrator can get that, and the user doesn't have to see errors, because you certainly don't want to block them from doing something, especially if they're doing something good that needs to update a dashboard. So then the general idea here is in Process Builder, go back to all processes. So what you see here in Process Builder is the same flow that I've used to share the record. I'm also using it to refresh the dashboard. And this is a really simple one. All it takes is the dashboard ID. You can just see every dashboard has an ID. And what our process is saying is that not only when accounts get anything done to them, created or edited, we want to refresh this dashboard. So let's say we always like to have current visions on our account. So this dashboard will refresh, and I'm just passing it the dashboard ID. So that's pretty simple. So if I look at my dashboard and do my latest refresh, it was refreshed at 8:30 today. My clock says 10:45. I think my demo org is in Pacific time, and I'm Central. But if I go and edit one of my accounts, I'll make them warm. And then anyone coming to the dashboard screen after that is going to be able to see the fact that it got updated at 8:45. My dashboard's not really interesting because I don't have a lot of data in here, but you can imagine maybe you want to update the dashboard every time a large opportunity is closed so that everyone can see the good results that are going on. Number 5 is the badges. So if you haven't used this before, the general idea is I would click a thanks, and I would pick somebody, and I don't know if I can thank myself or not. I'll click the other person. I could give them a badge. You can make up your own badges. We have all kinds of fantastic badges that are already there. Administrators can make their own. I think there's a feature for that. Here's my comment. And then I hit share. And then, so what that does is my other user gets their badge, they get their thanks, and then if I go click on them, you can see they don't have a lot of stuff here, but it shows up in their chatter feed. They can see it, and also it shows up in their recognition. So thanks for being awesome from me. So that's the idea. That's the idea with badges. And so what I wanted to do with Process Builder is to automate that. So for example, anyone that closes a large opportunity, and or let's say you get fantastic scores on a customer service case feedback survey or something like that, we want to give them a badge automatically and not have to, we want them to see that recognition without someone having to go and manually notice it and go find it, and that way everyone sees those announcements. So this requires that you turn on work.com thanks, and if you haven't seen that before, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, so you've got a settings at work.com, and you just need to turn this on. It's free, but if this is not on, then obviously you can't do that. So you need that. And then this one takes a few parameters. So it's going to take that, the who it's from, the who it's to, and then that thanks message that I put in sort of that chatter post there, and then also the name of the badge. And I'll show you what this one looks like in Process Builder. This was not written by me. This was written by one of our solution engineers, David Scruggs. And in this little silly scenario, you just created an account. Fantastic. Thank you for creating an account. You get a badge. And so here, most of mine I did by IDs, but he did this by name. So you just have to be careful on changing the names of these. And then you could programmatically, pick whoever, if it's something that's related to the account record or something. But you can see on the receiver, we did say whoever created this, that's the person that we want to say thanks to. And then, thanks for the account. And so that's the the general idea here. So this should be active, and if I go create an account, some badge should happen. And if I go look at my chatter feed today, just now, the person that the other person in my org is thanking me for creating that account. So you can see there's lots of things that you could do with this, and one of the really fun things about work.com is that you can tie funding to this. So if you want to give people Amazon gift cards automatically when certain things happen, you just use the badge that has that stuff attached to it. So anyway, so that is Process Builder Blocks so far. If you have any things that you wish happened here in Process Builder Blocks, and you say, oh, there's this thing that I do manually, I can't do it in Process Builder, so I end up writing triggers, and especially if it needs generics where I have to write a trigger for 15 different objects that need to do the same thing. That's a fantastic example of things that we'd like to add for Process Builder Blocks. And so just come here for issues and throw it in, or better yet, like David did, create a pull request, and then we'll have that your code. You can just add it here, and I'll take a look at it and bring it in, and then everybody else can benefit from it. So that's Process Builder Blocks.